Wife's furious I stopped cooking just for her since she always insults my food. I am 39 and male. My wife, Jennifer, is 37. We have been married for 8 years and we have 2 children. I work full-time and Jennifer is a stay-at-home mom. She's a wonderful mother to our children, but one thing that she does not like to do is cook. This works out just fine for me as I generally get off work by 4:30 and I happen to be a phenomenal cook. My father was a chef and I've been cooking since I was 10 years old. I also worked as an inline cook for several years. Virtually everyone loves my cooking. When we have company, I get rave reviews. Our children always ask for seconds. I put a lot into it and I take pride in my cooking skills. The only person who doesn't like it is Jennifer. She complains endlessly. Too salty, too much pepper, this is undercooked. She also backseat cooks a lot where I'll be in the kitchen making something, and she won't shut up about what I should be doing differently. The worst part though is that she'll frequently insult my cooking and then go get garbage like a Hot Pocket or a frozen dinner from the freezer. Last Wednesday, I made Salisbury steak with mushroom gravy, cream cheese, mashed potatoes, and roasted asparagus. Oh, that sounds amazing. When I put Jennifer's plate in front of her, she made a disgusted face. She poked at her Salisbury steak for a few seconds and took the tiniest bite imaginable. She then made an exaggerating retching sound, dramatically threw her fork on the plate, and went to heat up a microwave burrito. I just snapped. I didn't say anything at the time because our children were there, but I was completely done. The next day, I made teriyaki balls with broccoli. Jennifer sat at the table waiting for hers and I informed her that I was done cooking for her. When she asked why, really, I told her it's a waste of food and that she should just go have a Hot Pocket. Jennifer is furious that I won't cook for her and she says that instead of giving up, I should try a bit harder. I think she should just subsist on whatever microwave slop she likes and stop complaining. Did I escalate too much here? No, OP, you're not the a-hole and you sound like an amazing cook. I mean, your kids and your guests always rave about it, but Jennifer's acting like a spoiled brat ditching your Salisbury steak for a Hot Pocket. That's not just rude, it's insulting. And on top of that, the obnoxious backseat cooking and the gagging. Man, I'm sorry, but your wife's got no leg to stand on demanding you try harder when she can't even pretend to value what you do. So, no, you're definitely not escalating anything. I don't know what her problem is, but she sucks. In any case, here's what I would do. Number 1, you hold your boundary. No more meals for her unless she can apologize and actually appreciate what you do. Also, I would maybe sit down with her and call her out and ask her, "What's up? Why are you behaving this way? Is she secretly jealous or something? I don't get it." But if she continues to behave like a child, then make her step up and tell her that, you know what? Unless you cut the crap, you're gonna have to cook for yourself. I don't care anymore. Honestly, it's really weird to me that the person that supposedly loves you above anything else behaves particularly this way with your cooking when everybody else doesn't. What do you guys think about this situation? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's go check out the community comments to see what they said. Quiet Riot and some numbers says, not the a-hole. Did you marry a 5-year-old? She behaved like a child. If you're not willing to do something, you don't get to complain about the people that do. In my house, whoever is cooking makes what they make and everybody else shuts the F up and eats it. If you honestly can't eat it for some reason, you thank the person for making the meal and then make yourself something quietly and politely. This is the way. Hurt Locker fan says, it is really not about the food. All these years of cooking by an and she wants to crap on the one thing he loves. She is a mean, nasty, negative bitch. OP, show this to her. I'm an NPC, so what says, not the a-hole. She created this dynamic. Just make sure you and your babies are fed. She doesn't deserve food, especially since she's being negative on purpose. And OP responds, one thing that I take very seriously is how my boys eat. My wife and I are very fortunate to be able to afford good ingredients, so I spend probably more than necessary on food for them. My older boy says he always looks forward to his lunchbox at kindergarten. No Zookeeper Game 9552 says, not the a-hole. The retching sound and throwing of the fork deserves the cutoff without any other discussion. As you are still cooking for the kids and because your kids should know that that kind of rudeness is not acceptable and comes with reasonable consequences. And the Gray Blue Girl says, the first time someone makes a negative comment about your food, you should always let them know that they are free to cook the next meal and they don't have to eat anything you ever cook again. That usually stops a long-term crappy attitude that makes you grind your teeth. She is jealous, petty, and needs to learn to shut her mouth. Additional information from Ops comments. She does not like anything I make. She complained about literally everything I served her. I've often wondered if her behavior was insecurity on her part. Since she doesn't cook well, my cooking well is a blow to her self-confidence. I have never complained about someone's food unless it was egregiously messed up and I was paying for it. I've had to send back chicken wings that were still raw and French fries that were way over salted. Jennifer isn't a great cook, but the few times that I've eaten her food, I encouraged her and expressed appreciation. However, she can talk crap if she wants. As I said before, my boys know what's good. I know this sounds sad, but they're kind of used to her complaining and they tune it out now. OP's edit. Thank you for the comments. Unfortunately, people are sending me harassment through private messages, and many of these people come from the same community that has cross-posted this multiple times. I'm going to abandon this Reddit account, although in the unlikely scenario that I post an update, I may use it again. I'm just exhausted from reading comments about how I'm supposed to be a terrible father for not making the right food for my children and how my wife must be right about my cooking. I am no longer reading responses and DMs. OP don't mind the trolls and the haters. They probably can't cook. In any case, the community agreed that OP is not the and that something's going on with Jennifer. But of course, we do have an update. So let's move on with that to see how this story ends. About a month ago, I posted here about something that happened over dinner one night. My wife, Jennifer, literally retched at my cooking despite taking the tiniest bite imaginable. After that, I refused to cook for her, which made her very angry. It was this bizarre disconnect between her thinking my food was trash, not fit for a compost bin, but her demanding that I continue making it for her anyway. I was hesitant to update because for some reason beyond my understanding, I received about a dozen hate-filled direct messages after my last post. They were all being sent from users of a parody community of this. I have no idea what I did to make so many people upset, but a lot of people have asked me for an update, so I figured I'd give one. Anyway, the last month has been really eye-opening for me. I had long ago noticed that Jennifer was highly critical of my cooking, but over this time, I've come to realize that she's really critical of just about everything that I do. For example, 2 weeks ago, I was walking outside with her. I'm pigeon-toed and have been since I was a baby, although, it's a lot better now. Jennifer asked why I was walking with my toes slightly pointed in, and when I explained to her that I'm pigeon-toed, she responded in an exasperated tone, "Why don't you just try walking with your feet straight?" Yes, thank you. My literal bone issues was just magically cured by your advice. I never realized that the problem to something I had suffered from nearly 40 years was staring me right in the face. At least now, if I know I ever get cancer, I can just get rid of it by deciding not to have cancer. You see, I never really noticed how critical she is towards me on virtually everything I do. She's just more forward about my cooking. Another example, when she walks into my home office, she always scrunches up her face in this really displeased way. I don't think she likes the interior, which I designed, because she wants nothing but white and gray in every room in the house. Also, whenever I try to do the laundry, she'll hear me open the washing machine door and beeline over to backseat me through the whole process. This is coming from a woman who once ruined a $1,500 suit of mine because she thought bleach would be the perfect stain remover. By the way, when I was explaining an issue I had with my colleague to her, she took my colleague's side despite her being objectively in the wrong from an industry standpoint. My wife was adamant though that I must have been the one to screw things up. I'm honestly just exhausted. The criticism of my cooking was the worst. Yes, but it really just overshadowed everything else she always found fault with me on. I tried to have a conversation with her and naturally, she denied doing anything of the sort, denied ever being rude to me, and even denied retching at my food. She actually tried to gaslight me here. She kept asking me questions like, "When did I do that? Tell me the date." Then she called me a hypocrite for being critical of her, hijacked the conversation, and eventually stonewalled me. I've come to realize that I don't really like my wife anymore. She's just such a negative person. It makes me sad. But in the next few days, I'm going to ask her for a divorce. She's not going to like it, but I've come to realize that when she walks into a room I am in, I get anxious about what she's going to say to me. Thank you for all your comments. I also apologize if this was long-winded. My marriage is falling apart and I'm not in the best headspace right now. Opie said it. Thanks for all the advice. I'm getting hate messages from that community again, and I really don't need this as I have to deal with child custody, divorce, assets, and telling my children that mommy and daddy are going to be separating. It's a really stressful time and they're mocking me in DMs. I'm going to stop checking my inbox on this account so I won't be reading any more of your comments. Thank you so much for all the support. Well, OP, it sounds like you're making the right decision because your wife definitely doesn't like you. Just be mindful of parental alienation because she does sound like a person who would do that. In any case, OP, here's wishing you and your boys the best in the future. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit, Am I the a-hole? And it's by user CoolChange7987. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my roommate's boyfriend use my shower? So I, 24 female, share an apartment with my roommate, Sarah, 25 female. We generally get along fine, but she has a boyfriend, Jake, 27 male, who is always over. Like, at this point, I think he actually lives here more than I do. The issue, Jake refuses to shower at his own place. I don't know why. He claims his water pressure is bad, but I think he just likes my shower because we have those fancy rain shower heads. Either way, every time he stays over, he uses my bathroom instead of Sarah's. At first, I let it slide, but then I started noticing things. My shampoo running out suspiciously fast, my towels being damped when I hadn't used them. And worst of all, the man was using my expensive eucalyptus body wash. I splurge on that. He smells amazing, but at my expense. So last week, I finally put my foot down and told Sarah, "Hey, Jake needs to use your shower from now on." She got weirdly defensive, saying he feels more comfortable in mine. I said, "Great. He can feel comfortable at his own apartment." She got mad and said I was being dramatic over just a shower. Jake is now sulking. Sarah is annoyed, and I'm wondering, am I the a-hole for not wanting my roommate's boyfriend to treat my bathroom like a luxury spa? What? No, Opie. You're definitely not the a-hole, and that's kinda creepy that he would feel more comfortable in your bathroom as opposed to his girlfriend's bathroom or his own home bathroom for that matter. Honestly, I don't understand how he started using your bathroom in the first place. I would have been creeped out right from the beginning. So honestly, OP, if I were you, I would try to lock it down both figuratively and literally. Like, can you put a lock on the door of your bathroom? Because he doesn't ever need to use it. He could just use his girlfriend's bathroom. And figuratively, yeah, the boundary stands. Additionally, I would take all of your shampoos, body wash, and all that stuff, and I would hide them in your room or put them in your closet where he can't get to them to use them in her bathroom. Then you call out Sarah and you tell her that Jake is not your roommate and he's using your crap and leaving your towels wet. That's disrespectful. Now you mentioned that Jake almost lives with you guys. I would check your lease to see what it says about house guests, and then I'd have a conversation with Sarah about it. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Fragrant Reserve 4832 says, quote, "At this point, I'm going to be speaking to the landlord about how much time he's here and the fact my very reasonable boundary is being disregarded," end quote. And OP responds, "I already talked to the landlord a couple of times, but every time he always says he's going to talk to my roommate, but nothing." Saltfinding 9193 says, "EU. Using your towels, using your shower, let alone all your products? Outrageous. Get logs on the door and sit them down and make it clear he is no longer allowed in your bathroom, and you don't want him over more than 3 days a week from now on unless he pays a third of the rent." And Favre de Tusu Forno says, "This sounds annoying as hell. He can use her shower or his own, but you can also tell him to pay up for using your products. Literally, put up a poster on the bathroom door and inside the bathroom that details price per shower." Well, I feel like that's a petty way to send a message. I don't know how you would monitor how many showers he takes though, since you definitely shouldn't put a camera in the bathroom, maybe outside. Not the a-hole. Lock the bathroom up. He's weird as hell. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and gave some suggestions as to how she can deal with it. So let's now move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi. After my first post, some of you suggested some things and thank you for all of that. Well, things have escalated. After my conversation with Sarah, I thought the issue was settled, but nope. Jake decided to test boundaries. A couple of days later, I came home from work to find my bathroom door locked and the shower running. Guess who was inside? Yep. I knocked and said, "Hey, what are you doing in my bathroom?" He had the audacity to yell back, "Just showering. I'll be out in a minute." Like, he lives here. I was fuming. When he finally emerged wearing my towel, I lost it. I told him straight up that this was my space and that he had no right to use it with my permission. Sarah, instead of backing me up, said I was making a big deal out of nothing and that I should just share. I told her that if Jake wants access to a rain shower head so badly, he can install one at his own place. The next day, I went full petty mode and put a lock on my bathroom door as some of you suggested. Sarah flipped out saying I was being extreme and that I was ruining the dynamic. I told her that Jake had ruined the dynamic when he started treating my stuff like his own. Now Jake refuses to come over unless I relax, and Sarah is acting like I'm a tyrant. I'm standing my ground, but the apartment is tense. Willoughby, you had no choice. What the hell was wrong with both of these people? They're both idiots, so you just stand your ground like you're doing and don't worry about them. If Jake doesn't want to come over anymore, that's a win for you. And if Sarah wants to move out or break the lease or stop being your roommate, that's another win for you. So well done, OP, and here's wishing you the best in the future. Thanks for sharing. Now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Scissorfella. Turn my camera on? Fine. In 2021, I was working on a project with this manager called Mark who was a real stickler for the rules. He was the kind of dude who wouldn't allow chit-chat in his team and loved an office day more than anything despite the fact that our team was external and all of us lived crazy far away. I've got a chronic disease, which at the time was kept relatively under control with infusions at the hospital every few weeks. Seeing as Mark didn't want to chit-chat, he wasn't aware that I live with this disease. One day, I was in the hospital working from the bed with a cannula in one arm. We had our daily meeting planned, and I figured it would be fine to call in without my camera as they could still hear me just fine, and I didn't want to freak anyone out with the infusion line in the picture and whatnot. I get onto the call, and Mark immediately comments that he can't see my face. I tell him that I've not got my camera on today and don't elaborate, figuring that it's a 15-minute call and I could just as easily be driving or something. Mark responds by asking me to stay back on the call after we finish. I comply and he chews me out for not turning on my camera, saying that it's a rule that we all need to show our faces. Fine. I turn on my camera and watch his face go from red to white as he sees me in what is very clearly a hospital room. I tell him I'm uncomfortable being on camera while I'm getting treatment, also not elaborating on what it's for. His sweaty little face still brings me joy.